Sports Limelight, episode 81. Hello, Drew.
Hey, what's going on, Bill? How you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you doing?
Good. What's new?
Well, some new players on a lot of NFL teams that draft last weekend. I'll start with this, Drew, including a free agency move for the Bills. How do you like your new quarterbacks, Kevin Kolb and E.J. Manuel?
Man, I love E.J. Manuel. He's quite the athletic and fast dude. I think he has some polishing to do, but I think he'll possibly start either halfway through or next season.
I like it. So he's not going to wait for long.
No, I think depending on how Kevin Kolb does, I think he'll learn the ropes, and he's got a couple of new receivers and tight ends to work with also in the draft.
Yeah, and according to their highlight packages, like every single player drafted, they all look good in their highlights, and they dominate the person across from them.
Good old ESPN editing helps out with that.
It sure does. And now only 2 to 4 years before we can start to judge whether these guys were all good picks.
I agree, and it looks like overall this is probably one of the fastest drafts I've seen the Bills do. They got really good speed and a lot of upside. They also drafted a wide receiver who happened to be a track star, so they took a few risks here, but it's got a lot of upside.
I like it.
Now, speaking of quarterbacks, I heard the Giants picked up a nice one, too.
Yes, Ryan Nassib in the 4th round was quite a surprise. I felt like it was a little too early to be drafting someone that was to eventually be Eli Manning's replacement. He's only 32. In Reese we trust. Jerry Reese must have really liked him to not only pick him in the 4th round, but trade of their 4th and a 6th round pick with the Cardinals to get up to that spot.
Now, how long after Eli Manning was drafted and traded to the Giants did he become the starter?
He sat for half a season behind Kurt Warner.
So this could be Ryan could be on the bench for a good 2 or 3 years before getting some playing time, huh?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Either he's not good anyway and he kind of washes out, or he is good and after a while you figure he won't want to ride the bench anymore and he'll ask for a trade, or by then his rookie contract will be up and the Giants get nothing for him anyway. So along with Kirk Cousins last year with the Redskins, it'll be interesting to see what happens with these enticing prospect backups that aren't going to get playing time unless the starter is hurt.
Yeah, now speaking of quarterbacks, I just read on ESPN that the Jets have 5 quarterbacks that are fighting for a starting job.
I read that as well, and not one of them is Tim Tebow, who was released yesterday.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I just saw someone comment saying, if you have 5 quarterbacks, then actually you have no quarterbacks.
Yep. That's a great saying for when you have 2 fighting for the starting job with no clear standout. So how much more then when it's 5 guys?
Right. But yeah, so overall, how would you grade the Giants draft?
I think a B seems to be the prevailing grade over multiple sources. You know, you look around at ESPN and SI, and a lot of websites have grades. So if that's true, I'm okay with that. What are the experts saying about the Bills overall?
Well, like you said, it's you can only really grade it 2 or 3 after the fact. But they say that if E.J. Manuel doesn't pan out, then it's an F.
Oh.
But right now, they said we'll give him a C.
Oh, that's fair.
I think anybody can be a draft expert.
Yeah, maybe that's what's so alluring about watching the draft and having draft parties, is everyone can sound like an expert.
That's right. Hopefully, if we're doing the show 10 years from now, we can do another draft matchup of 2013.
Yeah, mark it on your calendars. April 30th, 2023. We will do that.
Nice.
So getting back to Tim Tebow, where do you think he lands, and is that destination in the NFL?
My first guess would be Phoenix Cardinals.
Hey, it's possible. As good a guess as any, I think.
Yeah, I mean he knows where PBC is, so he knows where to train.
That's right. He knows where to find me if he wants me to run some routes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, let me know if he comes back. I will guard you.
Yeah, and then I will guard you. A nice kind of 3-man rotation there. I like it.
Yeah, hopefully we won't bump heads.
Coming on a future episode.
Maybe Tim Tebow comes back, but he's not a quarterback.
That could be true, too. It might he might have to give up his dream of quarterback and sacrifice that to remain in the NFL.
Right.
Now, while we're still on the Jets, any thoughts on the Darrelle Revis trade to Tampa Bay?
Well, I think he's obviously a great player, and Tampa Bay really wanted him. So I think the Jets losing him probably doesn't help their situation anymore. So I thought that the defense was the only thing helping them.
That was the strength of the team for the Rex Ryan years.
Right.
Transitioning now to the NBA playoffs. And what's going on there, Drew? Anything interest you?
Well, yes. Unfortunately, my Lakers prediction to go into second round was completely devastated by the San Antonio Spurs.
Oh, no, they were swept, right?
They were swept, and the last two games in LA were by losses by 20 points or more.
Wow. Well, that's all right. Didn't work out. You went out on a limb.
That's right. So the Spurs and the Heat are the only teams that have swept. So right now they've got to be the favorites heading into the second round.
Most rested. That bodes well, especially for the Spurs, an older team.
Yeah, it seems like every team but them has some sort of injury, either 2 or 3 stars or whatnot.
Yeah, Westbrook in Oklahoma City. That's big.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's kind of funny about that being a torn meniscus, and they say that's 6 to 8 weeks. Won't it still be in like the second round in 6 to 8 weeks?
Right, it should be.
At worst, he can be back for the finals if they make it that far.
Yeah, too bad the Lakers didn't advance. I would think Kobe would have had enough time to recover.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if the Spurs can keep their old guys healthy, I think they are the top pick in the West.
Sports Limelight, episode 81. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.